Welcome to the deep dive. We take the stack of sources you send us, could be articles, research, sometimes even these unfiltered audio transcripts,
Yeah.
and we really try to pull out the most important bits of knowledge, the key insights.
Yeah, and sometimes, like with today's source, this August 2025 radio program transcript, the material feels a little, well, maybe goofy, or just fun on the surface.
Exactly. But our mission, as always, is to dig deeper than that surface level stuff. We want to find the really valuable insights and maybe some surprising connections for you.
Right. Think of it as a shortcut. You get to be well informed about this really interesting snapshot of American life, all filtered through this one local radio show.
It's quite a mix, too, isn't it? You've got some pretty high-stakes political drama sitting right next to, everyday stories, listener questions, pop culture stuff.
That's the goal. Help you see what actually matters in all these different pieces, find the links between them maybe, hopefully walk away understanding things a bit better, and maybe even with a smile.
Okay, so let's dive into the past week as described in the source. They picked a song to symbolize it all. Cliff Richard's We Don't Talk Anymore.
And yeah, not the Charlie Puth one. Definitely showing a generational thing there.
Right. But they chose this specific song because they saw something, they described it as even more heartbreaking than the usual political fights, the left versus right stuff.
And what was that? Well, it was this very public, very loud fight between former President Trump and Senator Josh Hawley.
Yeah, the source laid it out. Trump apparently went on a furious social media rant because Hawley voted for a stock trading ban bill.
Right. And the real kicker, the thing that really got Trump worked up, was that the bill also applied to the president. It would have forced divestment. It was pretty dramatic, played out very publicly.
But then it resolved just as fast, which is maybe the most interesting part.
Exactly. Hawley goes on Fox News almost immediately, clarifies his position, says, oh no, my proposal would exempt the president from divestment.
And poof, confusion cleared up. They're back on good terms.
It really tells you something, doesn't it, about maybe the performative side of some of these political fights. Optics, alignment. They seem to just wipe away the policy differences sometimes.
Mm-hmm. And the radio hosts even threw in a couple of other We Don't Talk Anymore examples, like Katy Perry and Justin Trudeau, just sort of adding to this theme of public relationships being kind of fragile or changeable.
And that mention of pop figures kind of leads into another quirky bit from the show, the discussion about naming kids.
Oh, yeah, the baby names.
Yeah.
They mentioned Mahomes Karoftis and Kelsey Taylor.
Spelled just like the Chiefs player and Taylor Swift, apparently. It's funny, but it also shows how much these public figures get into our heads, right? Even for really personal stuff like naming your child, it's a sign of their cultural footprint.
So, okay, we've got the political stage, the pop culture echoes. Let's pivot now to the everyday stuff, the rhythm of normal life. Starting with one of the hosts, Chris. He had quite a week, apparently.
He did. He mentioned having lunch with Rory Rowland, the mayor of Independence, Missouri.
And the detail that jumped out was the mayor's style. Apparently, he wears slides and a suit.
To business meetings and the swimming pool, according to the transcript.
It's a choice. Definitely a strong personal brand, Yeah. Little consistent quirks like that build up a picture of someone's character.
Yeah, it's memorable. And his week continued with this quest for a specific car inspection place, the no-name place down on Prospect.
Right. And it turns out there were two similar places. One's now closed. It sounds like one of those local legends, the insider tips you share that make navigating the mundane stuff easier.
Exactly. That shared knowledge that kind of defines a local community sometimes.
Yeah.
Makes life work.
But things looked up later. He had a picnic. Off the hook, fish and chips. Jane, the co-host, had apparently been really wanting it.
The universe delivered, as they put it, and the details are great. Sriracha mayo and vinegar. Definitely no tartar sauce.
Yeah, and kettle-cooked chips with mustard. It's just a little snapshot, isn't it? Into those simple things, those little rituals that make people happy.
Food seemed to be a theme. There was also the Minsky's pizza discussion. Chris tried a new combo.
Ah, yes, the whiting. Hamburger, black olive, red bell pepper, and marinated grilled chicken.
Which was different from his usual, the old Chris and Jane, pizza pepperoni, hamburger, black olive, green pepper, pineapple.
Even a small change in pizza toppings, it kind of shows how preferences become part of your identity, right? A culinary identity, maybe, that changes over time.
It does. And his week finished on a nice note, seeing his niece Avery in Peter Pan. She was one of Captain Hook's henchmen.
Sweet.
Mm-hmm.
Just a relatable family moment. But then Abby, the guest, offered a slightly different perspective on modern life and work.
Yeah, she gave some interesting comparisons about driving, Kansas City versus St. Louis.
Well, was the gist.
In KC, specifically Nolan Road, people stopping to be nice actually messes up traffic flow, can be dangerous.
I didn't see that.
Whereas St. Louis has more highways, but apparently much worse traffic overall, constant construction, daily accidents, just highlights how different even nearby cities can feel day to day.
And then there was the bit about her work, which seemed to really impress the host.
Right, she makes product demo videos. And he pointed out her articulation, her ability to, quote, tie to a pain point.
That's smart selling.
Yeah.
It's not just features, features, features. It's about understanding the client's problem and showing exactly how you solve that.
Yeah.
That's a very modern, effective approach. Empathy in sales, almost.
Definitely. Okay, so shifting gears to the listener questions. These often take us down some interesting paths, from the everyday to the, well, bigger picture stuff.
First up, popcorn. How do you make it?
And wow, the variety just in their little group. Chris does it on the stove, uses coconut or avocado oil, and this stuff called tahine seasoning.
Tahine, like tahini? Sesame paste.
Yeah, ground sesame seeds, often used in Middle Eastern food, very specific.
Yeah.
Then Abby likes the pre-popped stuff from Trader Joe's, the Italian herb one, though the host pointed out it uses sunflower oil.
Okay. And Paul.
Paul's got options. Air popper, a spin popper, some kind of microwave rubber thing, but only with butter, which naturally led to the salted versus unsalted better debate.
Of course. It's funny how something so simple like popcorn reveals all these little personal rituals and preferences.
Totally. Which kind of connects to the next topic, maybe less simple. The unstoppable march of AI.
Ah, yes. Listeners were noticing those monotone AI voices in social media videos. There's a definite unease there, isn't there, about things sounding too artificial?
There is. But the conversation quickly showed just how, well, everywhere AI is becoming. It's not just social media voices.
How deep does it go? The hosts gave some solid examples. Paycom's new I Want tool for HR stuff. Basically a chat GPT for employees asking about benefits or vacation time.
Yeah, streamlining things. And even in HVAC tech, using AI to diagnose problems with heating and cooling units, analyzing data, predicting failures. Pretty sophisticated stuff.
And they admitted using it themselves, right? Claude AI, chat GPT for emails.
While also saying they felt this, internal conflict using something that, quote, might be destroying us. It's that classic tension. Practical benefits versus these bigger anxieties about where it's all heading.
Yeah, that sounds familiar. Okay, next question, shifted gears again. Basketball and identity.
It started with a question about when the WNBA formed, but then it went into Abby's past playing basketball. She described herself as ferocious and aggressive.
Ooh, any stories?
She mentioned clapping back at parents in the stands, and some girl who apparently hated her because of how she played. Gives you a sense of that intense competitive drive in youth sports and the emotions around it.
Definitely. And did that connect to identity more broadly?
It did. Abby talked about this phase she went through, her I'm Asian phase, had nicknames like Asians are beast, wore a specific headband.
Instagram handles, too.
Yep. Asian invasion, Asian baller. And she said she wanted to be the only Asian on the floor when she played. It's a really interesting look at, finding yourself, grappling with identity, especially in these competitive spaces where standing out is complicated, can be empowering, can be isolating.
Fascinating. Okay, staying with identity but mixing in pop culture. Chiefs fandom meets Taylor Swift.
The question was simple. What do you wear to a Chiefs game if Taylor Swift is there?
And the answers.
Chris suggested a Taylor Swift era's outfit singlet, which is creative. Paul went with a very original Chiefs shirt. Sarcasm implied, I think.
Probably. I guess catch that blend, right? Celebrity culture crashing into local sports passion, fans trying to bridge those worlds.
And they threw in that quick story about an Eagles fan getting booed at a Cowboys camp, just reinforcing those deep, almost tribal sports rivalries.
Okay, next, the McDonald's mystery.
Yeah, this was kind of funny. Abby talked about getting a Happy Meal at 3 a.m. and how consistent the taste always is.
Which led to?
The theory that McDonald's food is, quote, not real food. They cited that old experiment, or maybe urban legend, where a Big Mac supposedly looks the same after months and months.
Right, while a Whopper or a Five Guys burger would mold.
Exactly. It's presented as this anecdotal, almost scientific observation, but it really taps into that ongoing public curiosity and, frankly, suspicion about fast food ingredients and processes.
Definitely a common trope. And the last listener question.
Just a lighthearted one about Abby's name. People apparently confuse it with Abbey, the place where monks or nuns live.
Like a monastery.
Exactly. And her dad used to joke about wanting to name her monastery. Just a funny little personal anecdote to wrap up that segment. Covered a lot of ground there, from popcorn to AI ethics.
It really did. Okay, let's move on to the news snippets and pop culture bits they covered, distilling some insights from current events.
Right. The news quiz segment started with the shooting in Manhattan. The target was apparently the NFL.
And there was some conspiracy theory mentioned.
Yeah, linking the 33rd floor to 33 degrees in Freemasonry. Standard conspiracy fare, really. Then, shifting globally, tsunami warnings after a huge earthquake in Russia, 8.8 magnitude. Abby got that one right on the quiz.
Not too bad.
Less devastating than feared, apparently. People were even live streaming from Hawaii, and someone made a TikTok joke about Maui from Moana stopping the wave. Shows how fast we process big events now, right? Through social media, humor.
True. What else?
A stabbing at a Walmart in Michigan. The host used it to make a point about the lethality of knives compared to what they termed assault weapons, focusing on potential casualty differences.
Okay, and something about the Caribbean.
Trinidad and Tobago extending a state of emergency, prison issues, moving high-risk inmates to military bases. And a little note that Jean-Paul, one of the show's producers maybe, is from there.
Got it. Then the conversation took a turn toward policy and politics.
Yeah, specifically about climate policy. They mentioned a Trump administration official, Lee Zeldin, now at the EPA, proposing to repeal the legal basis for climate policy.
And how did the hosts frame that?
Well, the source material reports, they talked about things like willful ignorance, politicians firing people who present inconvenient facts, and this idea of an ego thing getting in the way of accepting facts.
So the source conveyed a perspective on how facts might be handled in politics.
Exactly. It presented that view that facts can be seen as malleable or inconvenient, depending on the political narrative, without the hosts themselves taking a side, just reporting what was said in their source.
Right. And there was more politically charged content about Jeffrey Epstein.
Yes. The latest explanation offered by Trump, according to the source, was that Epstein was supposedly caught stealing a 16-year-old employee from the Mar-a-Lago spa.
And that led to broader discussion.
Yeah, about the perception of a lack of direct proof for certain allegations against Epstein, despite other evidence. And then the source mentioned the common counterargument, the what about Bill Clinton deflection?
Okay. So again, the source is just reflecting these different elements of the public conversation around a very sensitive topic.
Precisely. It's laying out the arguments and counterarguments that were circulating at that time as captured by the radio program.
All right. Moving over to show business, Comic-Con came up.
And how it's changed, right? Less about actual comic books now, much more focused on TV and movies.
What specifically?
Previews for Percy Jackson Season 2, Ashoka Season 2, Five Nights at Freddy's 2, a new sci-fi show from Vince Gilligan, the Breaking Bad guy, a South Park deal.
So has it jumped the shark, as they say? Lost its original identity.
That was the question raised. Abby, the guest, wasn't really interested anymore, though she did mention maybe cosplaying as an anime character, Hunter x Hunter or Naruto. It definitely shows how these big fan events evolve with the media landscape.
Makes sense. Then there was Love Island.
Oh, yeah. The Beyond the Villa spinoff. And Abby was clearly a big fan. Passionate, even.
What was the story there?
A really heartbreaking one about two contestants, Kenny and Jaina. Apparently, Kenny made some racist comments, and it came out he was just there for clout money, not Jaina.
Ouch. Reality TV realities.
Exactly. And they drew this contrast between Love Island people, often described with that acronym DTF.
Daunted too?
Yeah, looking for casual hookups.
Right. Contrasted with contestants on shows like The Bachelor, who are supposedly there for love for the right reasons.
Supposedly being the key word there, maybe.
Maybe. They also mentioned details about life in the villa. No phones, no TVs, limited alcohol. It's a controlled environment, which really blurs the line between genuine connection and, well, manufactured drama.
Did it lead anywhere else?
Just a hypothetical question to Abby. Would she go on Love is Blind, even though she has a boyfriend, just for the prize money?
Interesting thought experiment. Okay, what else in pop culture?
Just a couple quick hits. Ozzy Osbourne's funeral was mentioned, apparently very emotional, but also well-produced, thanks to Sharon Osbourne.
And a new celebrity couple.
Pamela Anderson and Liam Neeson, confirmed romance. And some listener, Molly W., actually saw them out with their families in New York. Just those little glimpses into celebrity lives that people find fascinating. Okay, so that wraps up the news and pop culture. Let's look ahead to what the hosts mentioned for their upcoming week. Personal journeys.
Right. Well, the host, Chris, is having Chris Week. because Jane's going camping.
So B, what's B?
Banff, Canada. A week-long trip, and apparently it involves, quote, digging a hole to poop.
Ah, glamorous. Definitely not her usual spa retreat, I guess.
Probably not. Meanwhile, Abby's traveling for work. Paycom training down in Dallas. Conferences, role-playing, standard professional development stuff.
Any other travel mentions?
Just a quick aside about Fort Worth. Was it worth it? And a mention of Goldie's BBQ, just adding that flavor of local exploration.
Gotcha. And they picked a closing song for the program.
They did. Pink Pantheress, Illegal. Noted it came from TikTok, called it the Song of the Summer.
Which contrasted with Chris's 70s music taste.
Sharply, yes. And Abby mentioned she was listening to the new Drake album, talked about the beef with Kendrick Lamar, just a little snapshot of the current music conversation, highlighting those generational differences again.
So that brings us to the end of the material. Lots of different threads there.
Absolutely. From political spats resolved overnight to the deep thoughts inspired by popcorn prep and AI voices. It's quite a slice of life.
Which leads us to our final thought for you, the listener, to maybe chew on.
Yeah. In a world that seems increasingly driven by convenience, ready-made popcorn, AI doing tasks for us, and where things like reality TV really blur the lines between what's real emotion and what's performance, what are we actually looking for underneath it all?
Is it genuine connection? Is it needing that external validation? Or are we just looking for a shortcut, an easier way to get whatever outcome we desire?
Something to think about.
Definitely. We hope this deep dive gave you some new angles, some things to consider. Until next time.